Many years ago, in the bustling city of Kumasi, there lived a young man called Kwesi and a young lady called Afiwa. Kwesi was a very known, dedicated carpenter, while Afiwa sells banku 2 shops away from his shop. Kwesi, as a young bachelor, patronizes Afiwa almost every day. He loved how neat Afiwa was and how receptive she was to her customers. Kwesi was secretly admiring her and decided to pay close attention, especially to see if he was on a fruitless journey. Kwesi discovered Afiwa was not in a romantic relationship, so he quickly decided to mark the territory. He started complimenting her looks, her food, and we encouraged her to keep at it by randomly gifting her 50 cedis. 2 years passed, and he succeeded in winning Afiwa's heart, and they soon got married. Their marriage came with a lot of blessings, as Kwesi advanced into owning a showroom where he sells furniture and interiors. Afiwa, on her own part, employed Kadi, a Togolese, because she could no longer handle her food business alone. Kwesi, being a very good husband, woke his wife one dead night and said, "Dear Afiwa, if your banku food business ends this much, I would like you to upgrade so we can give our children a very good life. And this is what I have done so that we can achieve this in no time. I have enrolled you in a culinary school in Accra so you can broaden your knowledge on food and pastries. It is a 1-year program." Afiwa, who was still struggling with it, sat up immediately she heard it because she had never imagined this in her life before. "But why Accra?" she questioned. "And how will I run my business from there? Our marriage is still tender, and I don't think this is a healthy decision." Kwesi said, "Now listen to me, my wife. You remember one of the laws of power? Conceal your intention. That is the major reason I chose Accra. I want us to take people in Kumasi by surprise. They should all be kept in the dark about this whole journey and process. Let only our results do the talking. For the business, we will have to talk to Kadi to take over, as you will be out of Kumasi for a whole year. What if she asks why? And what if she runs down my business?" Afiwa questioned again. "Leave that for me to handle if she asks any question. And for handling your business, I won't entirely leave it for her. She will be making returns on a daily basis to me. You basically don't need to worry yourself. And for our marriage being so tender, that's a fact. But my dear, we only have this time to sacrifice this for our future before the children start coming." Afiwa then said, "I think it's okay to add a planning office to that showroom of yours because this plan is so perfect." They both laughed hard. She appreciated her husband so well, said a lot of sweet words, and they both retired back to bed again. 1 week had passed, and everything had been successfully put in place as agreed. Afiwa got to the culinary school in Accra, and all her expectations were exceeded. She was so happy, and right there, she made a decision to make her lovely husband so proud of her. In the school, she was so attentive, and within 1 month, Afiwa had learned how to bake cakes and started trying fondants and butter icing. She lacked nothing for her practicals because her husband Kwesi was constantly sending enough money, and he will advise her to save for the rainy days because business can't be predicted. Meanwhile, Kwesi had intended to stop sending money to her from the 7th month because of 2 great things he must achieve before her return, as that would be his welcome home and anniversary gift since they'll be celebrating the 1-year anniversary apart. Afiwa was a fast learner and was 80% fit to be a chef even in her 5th month. Her boss was so impressed and started sending her to occasions, especially weddings, as a representative. Afiwa had lots of positive reviews, and this made her boss's favorite. It was her 7th month already in Accra, and her husband Kwesi started up with his already laid plans. He constantly kept in touch with her, but complained so well about low patronages in their businesses and how he kept on skipping meals just to be able to recharge his line for calls. Afiwa will encourage and remind him of how bright their future is and how she has seen different chefs living so large with their culinary skills. Kwesi was so proud of the decision he took, and he was so happy as well, as all his plans were ticking, with Afiwa having no little idea of what a homecoming welcome party would be like. Afiwa was privileged once again to go on an outing with her boss, but this time, it was one of her senior colleagues' restaurant luncheon, and her boss had been contracted for all the menus. It was a carnival, as men of timber and caliber graced the occasion. She was particularly impressed at their portfolios during introduction. The party ended, and Afiwa could not erase the beauty and class she beheld at the party. However, she pondered on how the master of ceremony introduced the guests. Like, meet Mr. Kofi, a medical doctor, and his wife, a jeweler. The list went on, and she said to herself, so in my own case, it would have been, meet Mr. Kwesi, a carpenter, and his wife, a certified chef? No, that man doesn't fit in my class anymore. It can't be heard that I'm married to a carpenter, and his business is already folding. Only God knows the state it is right now, she muttered. I know he orchestrated my coming here, but life hasn't been fair. And then again, I can't be this good in my crafts and still be a carpenter's wife. She was determined to create a brand for herself, and so she concluded to use the remaining 5 months to build her contacts. After one of her classes, Afiwa was surprised when her boss told her that a visitor was in the reception waiting for her. Could that be my husband? Because no one knows me here. It had better not be that carpenter, because I would disgrace him straight up, she muttered to herself. On getting there, it was a very young handsome man sitting pretty. She pulled up a better countenance and they exchanged pleasantries. The man said, I am Kofi, a businessman. I know you don't know me, but I saw you in Abby's restaurant luncheon. I admire your calmness, your dedication to service, and how receptive you were. I couldn't take my eyes off your direction that day. And even after the party, your face kept ringing a bell. And today, I decided to come feed my eyes again with your beauty and personality. You can't be serious, Afiwa said. You mean you left all your schedules just to see my face? Okay, I'm sorry if that sounded awful, Kofi said. But I'm basically here to collect your contacts because I'll be hosting close friends this Sunday in my house, and I would like you to be in charge of all the menus. This was an answer prayer to Afiwa, who had decided to make utmost use of the remaining 5 months to build her contact list. She didn't hesitate in giving it out and assured him of a good service. Kofi was so excited because her contact was like a million contracts. The hosting of friends was just a bit to actualize his desire. He called that same evening and told her all that he would like to appear in the menu. Afiwa mentioned her price, and Kofi didn't negotiate at all. He even paid extra just to impress her. The day for the hosting came, and Afiwa put in all her best and delivered an excellent service. It was the 11th month, and Kwesi had done all that he had proposed and was fully ready to welcome his beloved wife back home. Kofi and Afiwa started getting along, and Afiwa didn't keep back, especially because Kofi's spoken English and business befit her new career in view. Kofi asked about her marital status, and she responded that she wasn't happily married. What happened? Kofi further asked. He betrayed me, she said. He slept with one of my workers, so I decided to leave the shores of Kumasi, develop myself, and take a loud revenge. I came to Accra because I know 1 year here will heal me of the emotional torture I went through in that man's hand. I'm so sorry, Kofi said. Indeed, people don't value the treasure they have until they lose it. I am here now to treat you like a queen you are, and also I nurse on your craft to make you better and an Amazon. Thank you so much, Afiwa said, in great joy and utmost expectation from a new relationship. Back home in Kumasi, Kadi was very faithful in her daily returns, and the Banku food business became 2 times better than how Afiwa left it. Kwesi, with his carpentry skill, renovated and gave it an exquisite look. Afiwa's graduation was fast approaching, and Kwesi thought it wise to be present in his wife's big day. So he decided to pay her a surprise visit 2 days to the main day. When he arrived at Accra, Afiwa gave him a cold welcome, and this didn't go down well with Kwesi. So he asked, "What is wrong?" "You would have told me of your coming," Afiwa replied. "I am so sorry. I thought of surprising you. You know how pleasant it is for lovers to surprise themselves. So I thought of spicing this union again after 1 year of not seeing each other with this surprise. But it seems I'm the one that got surprised instead, because this was not how I envisioned it to be." "Mr. Planner," Afiwa said, "your plan failed this time." Okay, I agree," Kwesi said. "We must not allow this aggravates. Come to think of it, we shouldn't be doing this now, after 1 year of not seeing ourselves. Come on, we should be creating memories together that will linger on and make us blue whenever we remember the created memories in Accra." "I am so stressed out," Afiwa said. "My practicals are so intense now because a lot of case will be displayed during my graduation." "Oh, I think that's understandable," Kwesi said. "But that does not deny the glaring fact that the energy emitting from you is negative. Is it because I stopped sending money since 5 months ago? I am so surprised. It is not entirely my fault. But thank God things are beginning to return to good shape. And that's why I was able to come here. And with these acquired skills of yours, it can only get better." "Okay, I'm so sorry," Afiwa said. "But please, permit me to sleep, as tomorrow is another day." Kwesi was dumbfounded and couldn't process why his beloved wife was acting up. The next day, Afiwa left very early in the morning without saying a word to her husband and returned at night. Kwesi became more worried and traveled down to Kumasi the next day, which was her graduation day, without attending the party. Afiwa was very elated because Kofi had promised to grace the occasion and throw an all-night after graduation party. So Kwesi's presence was only but an obstacle. The graduation ended so well, and Afiwa bagged 3 awards for creativity, excellence in service, and overall best graduating student. The after-graduation party was so wild. Afiwa met a lot of big boys in town and was so excited because she added more contacts to her list. However, she was so intoxicated, messed up herself, being her first time taking alcoholic drinks. She woke up in Kofi's house and had no idea of how her mess was cleaned up. After 2 days, she traveled back to Kumasi with a lot of cash gifts from Kofi, and her lovely husband, who had forgiven her ill behavior towards him, welcomed her home with a newly built and well-furnished restaurant. Afiwa could not believe her eyes. She was so thankful, but in her mind, she still held on to a carpenter does not fit in any longer in this minute status. She almost didn't recognize her Banku shop because the renovation gave it an entirely different look, as she wondered how her husband got all the monies he pumped into all, because same man has been complaining of low sales and stopped sending money to her over 5 months. But when she visited Kwesi's carpenter shop and showroom and saw everywhere look almost deserted, she concluded that it was Kwesi's business that had received a backlash and not hers. This strengthened her thought of her being in a higher class than her husband, not knowing that her good planner husband has a more pleasant surprise awaiting her. Afiwa was amazed to see Kumasi more beautiful than the way she left. Many businesses had been baited, and she was so in love with the new KA Interiors that sell beautiful furniture and interiors. Afiwa was so thankful to Kadi and attributed the whole success of her Banku business to her. She allowed her continue in the management of the Banku and fully face the restaurant. The business flourished so well within a short period of time, and Afiwa became the most sought out for because everyone wanted her to be in the occasion. She still kept in touch with Kofi and would sometimes lie about having a wedding cake job in Accra just to go be with him. Kwesi became like a piece of rag to Afiwa, and the ill treatment multiplied. So he decided to keep the other surprise until she changes. So he will sit in the house before she leaves for her restaurant and return home before she does. Afiwa observed it and said, "Mr. Planner, so you only know how to plan for other people and not yours. How come your business had finally crumbled under your nose? You no longer go out. You see, KA Interior had taken over your line of business. You better go look for a small car on hire purchase and go into transportation because I won't spend my cedis on any lazy man." The only thing Kwesi said was, indeed, the character of an individual is being brought to limelight when such a fellow has been exposed to money and fame. Then Afiwa responded, "Then pluck the money now. Pluck the fame from your carpentry shop if it's that easy." 8 months after, Afiwa delivered a baby boy and insisted he should be named Kofi, just to keep a close reminder of her lover. Kwesi, naive of her intentions, yielded. Kofi heard of the news, congratulated her, and promised to love her more for baiting for her husband and closing every door or suspect whatsoever. After 5 months, Afiwa decided to do something fast in order to leave her husband before she finds herself with a second child for him. So she traveled down to Accra with her baby, met with Kofi and said, "This baby is a stumbling block obstructing her marriage. I have come up with a plan. Though it is scary, but please don't say no." Kofi then said, "Let's have it. I will tell Kwesi that Kofi, his son, disturbs a lot in my place of business, and that I wouldn't want my business to be affected at all, since I buy his diaper and all the essential from the profits I make. I will tell him that the only solution is to keep him at home with him and be coming home by 12 p.m., 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. to attend to him." Kofi then asked, "So, what is scary about this plan?" Afiwa said, "Hold on, I'm not done yet. That is like a preparatory ground to the plan. I will do this for 3 days," she continued, "and then wake up very early on the 4th day and inject Kwesi with Rohino. You know it can last for more than 12 hours. So here is my spare key to my house and the address. You will be in Kumasi on the 2nd to 3rd day, and then I will give you a call to open the door, carry Kofi, and go and deposit him in an orphanage home in Accra. So when I return by 12, I will raise alarm and then proceed from there." "That's perfect," Kofi screamed. "I must admit that you are a genius." Afiwa took it as a compliment, not knowing that Kofi had other plans. She got back to Kumasi. She told her husband exactly how she had planned to say it. But to her greatest amazement, her husband said to her, "I have been observing the beast I got married to. So because you think my carpentry and showroom are almost deserted, you ridicule me? And now you have decided to reduce me to your nanny. I stopped sending money to you on the 7th month and came up with a lie of how low business patronage was because of that restaurant you brag with and your banker shop renovation. Your one CD is not in any of the work done in those two places. I told you I wanted our children to be comfortable. I told you I wanted them to have a good life when they start coming. I opened an account and deposited all the profits made by Kadi. The new status that you brag with that make you feel I am no longer qualified to be called your husband. I initiated it. See how you suddenly forgot how you started. See how you allow pride to take over your being. Let me further burst your bubbles. I am the owner of KA Interior that you love so well and talk about. At this time, Afiwa became speechless and marveled at the manner of man and gifts she had been maltreating, all in the name of class. Kwesi continued, "It was part of my welcome home, an anniversary gift for you, but I saw how you treated me when I visited you in Accra and how it continued even here in Kumasi. I, your husband, the planner, decided to trade with caution. I leave the house only when you had gone to your restaurant, and I return home before you get back, so you can think that all what you saw at the showroom and the capital shop that you know are my reality. And did I also add, my dear, I am no longer a carpenter. All those things you see at KA Interiors were all imported." At this time, Afiwa was so mad at herself because what she was desperately in search of was right in their house with her, on that same roof. But her greed and pride blinded her from seeing and cherishing her God's-given gifts. She apologized to her husband, but Kwesi gave her a cold shoulder. She was determined to make amends, not knowing what was about to hit her. She called Kofi and said, "I am no longer interested in my affair with you, and I won't inject my husband any longer. I am now happy in my marriage and I want to build my home." Kofi simply replied, "If that will make you happy, then it's all fine by me." She thought she had escaped and she started outdoing herself in several ways just to enter again into Kwesi's good book. But something dramatic happened after 2 days. Kwesi returned from work, opened his house and met a young man sitting in his parlor. He was surprised and scared at the same time because he couldn't fathom how he gained access into his home. The young man introduced himself as Kofi and said, "Don't be scared, sir, because I am harmless. I have come to set you free from the enemy within. Let's wait for Afiwa, your wife, to return before I say anything further." Kwesi was so anxious, and luckily for him, within 10 minutes, Afiwa was home. She was so shocked to meet Kofi, and she wanted to excuse him from her husband's presence. But Kwesi said, "No, we both have been waiting for you. When I entered, I was scared. But with what I'm saying, it's so obvious that you both know each other from somewhere. So please sit." And he turned to Kofi and said, "Young man, over to you, because it is late already and you can't pass the night in my house." Kofi then introduced himself as his wife's boyfriend. Kwesi was flabbergasted, looked towards his wife's direction, but she had already buried her head in shame. Kofi continued, "We met in Accra, precisely 7th month in our culinary school. I contracted her for my friend's hosting, and after that we got talking. I asked about her marital status, and she said she was unhappy in her marriage because you, her husband, womanized, and she wanted to leave. We got into a romantic relationship on the 11th month. I engraced her graduation and I hosted an after party, and she passed the night in my house." Kwesi interrupted by saying, "So this was the reason you didn't want me around when I visited Accra for your graduation?" He then said, "Young man, please go on." Kofi continued by saying, "She visits me often even when she returned to Kumasi. There was no wedding cake contract anywhere. They were all her initiated lies just to be with me. At this time, Kwesi was so disappointed in Afiwa and he felt used by her. Kofi continued. She came to my house last week and said she was ready to leave you before she finds herself with a second pregnancy under your roof. So she gave me your address and this spare key and said she would tell you of how Kofi disturbs in the restaurant and how she doesn't want her business to be affected and that the only solution will be keeping him at home with you. She further said that on the 4th day, that she will inject you while you're still sleeping, that I should open the door, carry Kofi to an orphanage home in Accra, and she will pick it up from there. I was so happy because Afiwa doesn't know I'm into children's trafficking. I had already contacted a buyer for $1 million, only for Afiwa to call me that she's no longer interested in our affair, that she's now happy in her marriage and wants to build a home. Build her home with my baby? Afiwa was surprised. Yes, my baby, I said. When you were drunk during the after graduation party, I carried you home and I had my way through. There was a great silence in the house. And Kwesi said, there is no doubt about that, because all you have been saying before now are true. And besides, Afiwa gave birth 8 months after her return from Accra, and the child has an uncanny resemblance with you. Just take a look at him. He pointed towards the direction of Kofi, the baby. Kwesi turned to his wife and said, Afiwa, I loved you so well, and I decided to invest in you to bring out the hidden potentials and make you an independent woman that I'll be so proud of. I sent you to Accra. I was so faithful even with the temptation that was surrounding me. I still kept my vow and kept our matrimonial bed undefiled. I upgraded your banku business, built and furnished your new restaurants, and still upgraded my line of business just to sit in well with yours so we can both build that comfortable home and future that I envisioned for our children. But what did I get? Accusation, unfaithfulness, and even a jail sentence in view. So many women out there are waiting for this type of golden opportunity, but it can never come because they got married to a man who will rather spend their money on side chicks than to invest on them. Afiwa, you are so mean. And with what I've just heard, you will even kill me if an opportunity is given to you just to satisfy your greed and pride. I would have called the police, but the love I have for you is genuine and it won't allow me to. Give me the keys to my restaurant. I give you just tomorrow to pack and move in with your lover. Kofi said, me? A lover? God forbid. I am a businessman, and I have used her to accomplish my plan. The only thing I need right now is my child. I don't mix emotions with business. You both can sort out yourselves later. Afiwa started crying because she knows she had already missed at both ends. She begged for her husband's forgiveness, and Kwesi said, I have forgiven you. You can have your banker food business all by yourself. But after tomorrow, I do not want to see you anywhere close to the restaurant, my house, or KA Interiors. Kofi left with his son that night, and the next morning, Kwesi hired a big lorry and supervised Afiwa's packing. Afiwa rented a one-room apartment and returned back to level 1. Hi, African Tale by Kama Tribe. I know you learned 1 or 2 things again from this story. As usual, let's share our thoughts in the comment section as I'll be responding to everyone. And if you have not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Kindly click on that subscription button. And this is me saying thank you over and over again for watching my videos to the end. This is a great encouragement. Till I bring another video your way, it's a bye from me. God bless you.